Well, howdy friends, Brian Flechsig, Matter of Outfitters of Midwest Fly Fishing Schools, and we are here in Ohio today, and a continuation of musky fever. And we're chasing musky today with head guide of Ohio Fly Fishing Guides, Josh McQueen himself. And pretty excited to be here. We've got some a really virtually balmy day here in January. Not a lot of ice, no snow. And you know, we're gonna chase muskies. What could be better?
Yeah.
It's a big fish. That's a big Ohio muskie right here. All right, I'm gonna put a little drag on him and then bend the rod a little bit.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Oh my God.
OMG, LOL.
Not what I expected, I'll be honest.
Whoa!
Come up here, head up, head up. Head up.
Yeah! OMG!
Right.
LOL!
I need some help here.
What do you need help with?
Probably holding the net.
I just did all this work. And now, I don't know, what do the kids say these days? I mean, what do you say when you catch
A 40.
Huh? Oh, this is lit.
What do you say when you catch
40.
40, baby.
Yeah.
We've seen from that footbridge to here 3 muskie. 2 went into the 8 on Brian, or the oval, and then an 8 just down here in about 10 foot of water. Pretty awesome stuff.
You know, this is, it was just, well, what, about 2 months ago, we were muskie fishing in Virginia with Blaine. And of course, we're here in Ohio. And this is different. I mean, every place you fish is gonna be different. But of course, I find myself, having fished for muskies in the past, I take what I've known over the years. Certainly not an expert like you or Blaine or Pat Kelly, or, but you know, I've caught some muskie before, but I learned so much with Blaine. And then I've taken already, as far as the rigging, and then my retrieves, the retrieves that Blaine taught me, how to hold the rod and do my figure 8 or my oval. I've taken those things and then adapted to this water. You've also given me some advice on how to retrieve the fly here today and what you've been seeing, what these fish want. But every situation is different, and you have to adjust to the conditions, you have to adjust to the watershed, you have to adjust to what the fish want or what they're doing. But I would say most of all is just like I listened to Blaine, learned and tried to do what he was telling me. You know, I listened to what you told me as we started today, and I tried to adjust my retrieve as such, and sure enough, I mean, what are we, a half hour, 40?
Yeah.
We're 40 minutes into our float. We can darn near see where we put the boat in, and we've already had 3 muskies chase a fly, and that one we just put in the net, and I have the injury to prove it.
Pretty good conditions, I think, is also what's awesome about this, and that's anytime you can, you want to get out on the good conditions, and sometimes we don't have that. We had a couple of sunny days last week. We got out, still got some action, but it's hard to beat this. And we just took advantage of it. It was nice that this was close to home because You know, it's a slower time of year for me, although I've been guiding pretty regularly with the warmer conditions. And, you know, Dev has finished up a lot of his projects, and I know you were going to have me and Dev on a labeling new merchandise project today.
I'd rather do this.
I'd rather do this. I'm glad we got out of labeling, and
yeah.
I'm glad we got to come out here and see some
Linda's
muskie.
pretty good at labeling.
She's not bad. I learned from her.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, she's one of the best.
Yeah. So, well, want to try it again?
Sure. Let me stop the blue. Do you have a tourniquet?
I do. I have one of the new Sims tourniquets. Yeah.
Oh, my bad. Okay.
Right. Yeah, it sure is.
Yeah. Well, you could do it injured too. I'm down a thumb, and this is my stripping thumb.
Brian?
Yeah.
We got your results here.
Oh, okay. Oh, man. I tested positive for muskie.
Can you show us the results?
Those are personal. Watch the video. All right, friends, so here's the deal. We fished during the major what? Explain that a little bit better. I mean, I get it, but what's it called? The major?
Well, it's just the major of the day for the moon phase. It has to do with whether the moon is overhead or underfoot. You have majors and minor periods throughout the day. And so we use a solunar calendar to determine the majors and minor fishing times. And that's always when low metabolism fish like esox, pike, and muskie are ramped up. Mm-hmm. And that's when they're on the feed.
When I was a kid, we used to have the, what's his name? Richard Alden Knight. Remember the books? You used to order up the books every year. You might not be old enough, but we used to order the books every year, and it had all the majors and minors for the whole year in there. So we always used to have to look at it, but that was before the internets.
The interwebs.
The
interwebs serve a good purpose. So
that was before.
We hit it right today. I mean, I think we came in into the hole that we wanted to be in about 10 minutes into the major, and we saw a muskie on what, cast 3?
Yeah.
Saw a smaller fish come out, and I think we knew it would just be a good day. When you time that with good imminent conditions, right here we have a low ceiling, very cloudy, pretty good visibility in the water. I think it was probably 4 or 5 feet, something like that. Yeah. Not too clear, not too chalky, just almost perfect green water, and very light winds. Those are all things that you desire when you're talking about pike or muskie versus maybe bright sunny skies and clear water usually don't mix well. Falling temperatures, rapidly falling stream temperatures don't mix well. But we tied in a major moon phase on, I think we're about 3 days out from a full moon, waxing gibbous, as they would call it, and that's 98% full. And so it's just really a hell of a time to be muskie fishing, and then we took advantage of it.
I've always said the waxing gibbous. It's been my motto.
Waxing gibbous all the way.
I like waxing gibbuses.
Yeah. And as soon as I scoop, drop your pressure. Drop your pressure.
Got it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, baby. All right, now what?
Huh? Musky.
you know, if you're musky fishing the right way, you're going to snag. You're going to snag some wood, snag the bottom a lot. It's going to happen. A lot of times, you know, if you don't pull too tightly into that snag, there's an easy trick that you can use to get your fly back, and especially on logs that don't have a lot of small brush around them. On a bigger, heavier log, try to walk the fly into this snag here. Now, how can we snag logs all day? And it takes me 3. Okay, there we go. So hooked up. Now, I give it the traditional little flick. Oh, it's not coming off. Trying to pull on it. With a fully sinking line or an intermediate sink tip line, what you want to do is get your tip way up high, a little bit behind your head, and you just want to launch that sinking line past that log, let it sink down for a second or two, flip it back to you, comes right out. Like butter. That technique will save you tons of time, save you tons of fishing time, and it doesn't work every time, but most of the time you can get out of the wood, get out of maybe the rock you're on, get yourself out of trouble, and keep on fishing.
All right, friends, I wanted to take just a few minutes, as we often try to do, and talk a little bit about the gear that we're using here for musky, which, you know, quite frankly, we've done this before, I think recently with Blaine Chocolate, and it really doesn't change much. You know, when I go musky fishing here in Ohio or in Virginia, or it's the equipment that I take with me it's pretty much the same. But of course, everybody wants to know about the rods. I'm using the TFO E-Sox. The E-Sox rod, of course, the new game changer rod from TFO. We're all looking forward to those. I know you are. Those are going to be a lot of fun. For now, it's the TFO E-Sox, and that'll change here in 2021 to the game changer. You're using the Axiom 2X?
Yeah, that's my favorite single hand rod right now, and I guess that's still a single hand rod, but you got more the second hand on there for a traditional style single hand rod for musky. A2X 10 weight, and got a Behemoth reel on there. And yeah, man, it's just, I mean, I think as you know, that thing is just like dead accurate.
I've been using that rod. Of course, our good friend Flip Pallet designed that rod for TFO. I've been using that rod, bonefish, redfish, musky. You and I used it pike fishing and smallmouth fishing. You know, I keep trying different rods, and I keep trying new rods, and I come back to that Axiom 2X. That is definitely the best rod TFO's ever made.
I haven't found anything I don't like using it for.
No.
I mean,
it's absolute push button, and the accuracy on that thing. Quite frankly, I like using this E-Sox for this because I do like the handle. Mm-hmm. And I'm not the biggest, strongest guy in the world and throwing these huge flies. I can put this butt up against my forearm, and it does help with the casting. And I also like this for figure eighting or doing the ovals when we get a fish close to the boat. So, you know, the E-Sox and what will become the game changer rod for me, but I have obviously thrown that quite a bit here the past 2 days, and I love throwing that rod. In fact, I love throwing that rod more than I do this one, but this has some of these features. I've just got the TFO power reel. When it comes to musky fishing, I'm not too worried about the reel. I don't think you are either. I mean, to be honest with you, I grab whatever reel has the right line on it at that given time. I mean, let's face it, we're really not using the reel that much.
Yeah, I think your last fish yesterday, I mean, you never even really got to the reel.
I mean, I didn't put the line on the reel. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So whatever reel you have, you know, of course, a large arbor is important. Disc drag. This is the TFO power. You've got the Behemoth, which is one of the world's best values in a big game fly reel, no question, from Reddington. And then, of course, the lines. Pretty much both days I've used the Scientific Anglers what is it, the 357?
Yeah, the 357, the triple density full sink. I think we're both using the same line on these setups, and it's just hard to beat, especially in winter fishing when we know, we're trying to get down sometimes 9+ feet deep with these flies along the big jams and the big trees, and it gets it down quick. But I think it's a pretty easy line to control too. I mean, if I need to come up over a structure, I feel like I can just lift my tip, and the rate's not too fast that it gets away from me. It's a good sink rate. I can bring it up and over cover pretty easy, and it's just a great line for muskie anytime. Winter fishing, lake fishing, if you're fishing a deeper lake like I do a lot. It's the best all around muskie line, I think.
I pretty much, I mean, I've found the same thing. It's the Sonar Sync 357. We'll of course show a picture of the box and show it on our website, but I think it's one of the most versatile, longer sinking head lines that I've ever used. I did bring an intermediate line. I think intermediates are way overlooked in this style of fishing, but for what we've been doing, we've been fishing. It's January 2020 here, or 2021, sorry, by the way, and the fish are in kind of wintering holes, so they're mostly in deeper stuff, and this line has just done everything. And then of course my leader couldn't be more simple. This is the famous flip pallet leader wallet, and I take this thing with me wherever I go. I've got everything in here that I need to make any kind of contact fly fishing leader. When I'm casting a fly and I want that leader to go out straight, and then the rod's going to come down and I have contact with the fly, I can tie any leader for bass, bluegill, streamers, saltwater, pike, muskie. It's all right here in this kit. I don't ever have to buy a leader, which, by the way, somewhere around here it is. There's the new Mad River Outfitters version of that leader wallet. I know we've been out of stock on these for months and months and months, and we found a guy in Michigan. He's making these now, so in fact, I'll probably give you one as a tip.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. I know you've been wanting one.
I have been wanting one
for Christmas.
I've been waiting.
Yeah.
I've been waiting patiently.
Well, we'll get you one. Anyways, it's got this little zippered pocket here. I can keep all my wire and all those different things in here. But off of virtually any sinking tip line, I use Maxima Ultra Green. I always have. I think Kelly taught me this years ago, I think. But Maxima Ultra Green, to me, kits up better with a sinking tip as far as the stiffness of it. And it just tends to, for me, to cast a lot better. But it's real simple. I go 2 foot of 40 pound, which is 24 thousandths Maxima Ultra Green. I go 1 foot of 30, and then I'm going to the wire. And I've been using this today, this Predator 1x7 nickel titanium wire. Blaine turned us on to this stuff. It's almost like braid. It's so thin, but it's 55-pound strength wire. The stuff is amazing, but it's outrageously expensive. I think you get 10 foot for $31.95, and it's not the easiest to tie knots with. I do like it, but I've traditionally, and I know you like to use the Rio Power Flex wire, which is a coated wire, and it's a lot easier to work with and to tie knots with and such. And I've been using 10, 12, 15 inches of the wire. I really don't think it matters. You don't want to go too long because it can kind of hamper your casting a little bit, but it doesn't matter, 10, 15 inches. And then I noticed, Josh, that you were using these Rio twist clips.
Yeah, yep, the fly clips. It's just a quick change. It's kind of confusing at first. If you try to straight put it on, you actually kind of got to tilt the eye of the hook and then spin it around. It's meant to be twisted on at an angle, but they're a quick change. I haven't had any trouble with them. There are some opinions that that there's worry that they'll fail, but I personally haven't seen a failure yet out of several pike and muskie now, and it's just quick, easy, doesn't seem to hamper the action of the fly, gives it every bit of good as movement as it would be on a loop on your wire, and especially if you're starting out You know, anybody that's starting out in the game of pike or muskie and they're not confident in tying a wire loop, because it is something you have to be careful doing. I just think these are simple. They're easy, relatively inexpensive, and I mean, you can change a fly like that. That's hard to beat.
It's you know, especially when it's cold out like this, and tying the knots, especially in this predator wire, can be challenging. It takes a little bit of time, and I switched over to it. I've got a clip on here, and it's allowed me to change flies a little bit quicker, and I see no problem with using it. And it's going to save on wire. It's going to save on your leader. Heck, we've been fishing for 2 days now, and we've not changed a leader. We've not changed a tippet. We've not changed anything. I'm using the same wire that I tied on yesterday morning, and it's the same length, you know. So those clips definitely make sense in certain situations. I can imagine that in some super clear water, super spooky fish, maybe somebody might not want to use them, but I don't think so. I mean, good Lord, you got 2 big fat hooks hanging off of that fly. Do you think that this is going to scare a muskie?
Right.
I don't think so.
No, they're definitely not shy of lines. In fact, they're really not afraid of a boat or the oars or anything. Yeah. They're the baddest critter out there, and they know it, so they're not worried about a size 3 twist clip.
No. So that makes a lot of sense. And the fly clips, we've talked quite a bit about those, and people love them. And worth mentioning, you've been using this Rio saltwater stuff.
I've been using the Rio saltwater for my, it's just regular saltwater mono. It's a monofilament, 100%. And I've been using 50 to 40, and then to the 40-pound Rio wire bite. That's been my go-to setup.
And that's it. This is very, very similar to, almost exact to my Maxima Clear.
Yeah, 40 pounds is 24 thousandths, I think.
It's the same exact diameter. It's the same stiffness. So anytime that I talk about Maxima Clear, you can substitute this Rio saltwater, and it's basically the same stuff, same stiffness, same hardness, same hard finish on it, and that's good. We sell a lot of this at the shop. A lot of folks love it, and it is good stiff tippet when you're contact fly fishing. So really, that's about it. And it's kind of this, you know, it's kind of almost the same thing that we talked about with pike fishing. Maybe slightly different leader. It's really the same thing. How about the flies?
Well, we've been sticking to just a couple of our favorite patterns, and this one here definitely has been the breadwinner of the last 2 days. This game changer here that was tied by our very own Pat Kelly. Just a, I mean, all around great fly for anything. We use them for muskie, pike. We use them for smallmouth. We use them for striped bass. I mean, a game changer. Who that streamer fishes hasn't heard of the game changer?
Largemouth,
you know,
trout.
Yeah, it's the best fly out there. Everybody's heard of this. I mean, it's hot, great movement. Not the easiest fly to tie, and there's a lot of great technique that has to be learned. But it's an awesome fly. And chartreuse and white, pink and white. There's a lot of different colors.
That's why we have Pat Kelly tie them.
That's why we have Pat tie them, because we're not very good at it.
I'm not tying that thing. I can't tie that thing. I think even Blaine Chocolate will tell you that Pat Kelly's one of the best game changer tires out there. I mean, his flies are amazing. They look amazing. They swim amazing.
And it has kicked musky butt the past 2 days.
There's some other flies I know you have, but let me just summarize that the game changers have changed musky fishing. Musky fishing in particular. And you know, when we spent some time with Blaine and got to talk to him about it, those flies draw a reaction out of a muskie that other flies just don't. That truly has changed the game in the world of musky fishing, and I can't say enough about it.
Yeah, I mean, and musky and pike too, and I mean, it's that kicking action and fishy action, just like a jointed swim bait.
You've got some other flies too, though.
Yeah, this is just more basic, a lot easier to learn to tie. I did a video on this way back early on in Mad River Outfitters YouTube about tying a bucktail deceiver. And it's just a simple fly, single hook. It's not articulated, but if you tie them, if you tie them right, you know, when you tie them on a cone and really cinch that material against that cone and let it puff out. The idea out of this fly is that you want to be able to get that kick. You give it a short, I always say sharp, darty strip, and that fly just kicks back and forth much in the way a glide bait would. And you know, I usually almost always do a blend. I'm not a big solid color guy. I like to give them a contrast to look at. So there's a pink and white. We've also thrown a chartreuse in white, or I mean, really the sky's the limit. Just like in any of the streamers, you can do a variety of colors, but it is just a single hook. This one's actually on I'm drawing a blank here on the name of the Arex, the new hook that's got the bend in it at the top, but this is on that. This is an Arex. It's not the classic trout predator. It's like it, but it's got, in fact, maybe it is a trout predator, but it's got the bend at the top. So it just seems to give it that little extra kick. And you can actually take, I take my big manly pliers, but you can actually take your pliers before you tie the fly and kind of adjust and just gently bend that and make the bend different. And so I'll tie the same color pattern on about 3 different degrees of bend and get a different kick out of every one of them. So it's a great fly that's easy to tie, the bucktail deceiver. And we've got numerous other, we've got I think a bulkhead here that Justin Christofferson tied. We've got different flies. But usually, yeah, just a lot of bucktail for me. I know when you talk to Pat, you can't get away from the game changer. He's sold on it. He's stuck on it for years. Yeah. And it's really it's easier than, say, trout fishing or steelhead fishing, where I have 5 different fly boxes. I've got a scrambled egg box and a nymph box and a bugger box. I just need one good boat box with about a dozen musky flies, and I'm ready to hit the river.
I brought 3 flies.
Right. And you've caught all your fish on one of them.
One of them.
Right. So.
Yeah, it's and you know, as long as you're not throwing them up into the trees and stuff, of course, even if you do, you can go get these. I mean, and very rarely do we even lose them on the bottom.
We haven't lost a fly in 2 days of fishing, and I think in the one day that we filmed Steelhead together, we went through about 10 of them.
Yeah.
So
well, even fishing with Blaine, we didn't lose a fly in 2 days of fishing. So you don't go through them. In fact, Pat Kelly handed me a couple flies, and he said, "Be careful with that one." He said, "That's landed about a dozen fish."
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, they're
expensive.
Was this one. Yeah.
That was the one that we caught.
They're expensive. They take time to tie if you tie your own, but you don't go through them. You might have some of these flies for years. I mean, it's an investment in your tackle. So, well, pretty simple. And of course, you know, people ask me about winter fishing. You know, of course, there's variances in what you're doing, but my solution for winter fishing is dress warm. You know, wear good stuff, gloves. We don't need to go into all that.
The proper footwear seems to be really important.
Good wool socks. You know, make sure you're prepared. Dress warm. Be prepared for winter fishing, and you'll be fine. I mean, you know, it's 10 degrees colder today than it was yesterday, and I'm fine. Absolutely no problem. So. Well, before we wrap up, I think it's appropriate to give a shout out to Josh. Thanks as always. And you can learn more about Josh at madriveroutfitters.com or ohioflyfishingguides.com. He can be hired through the shop for not only musky fishing here in the state of Ohio, but for pike, for smallmouth, for trout, for steelhead, which is a big part of our business, for carp, we can just go down the list. But musky is really becoming one of the things that we definitely have musky fever. We got, of course, Pat Kelly does a lot, but you know, we're really starting to get it dialed in a variety of different places around the state, and we all know that musky's big business. So hope that helps some folks out, and you know, wherever you are in this world, go chase musky, and if you're close to us, give us a call. We'll be happy to show you. Well, friends, thanks again for checking out our day here musky fishing in Ohio with Ohio Fly Fishing Guide's Josh McQueen. We really appreciate you being here. We hope that you have musky fever just like we do. So don't forget to subscribe to our channel. It's free, and that way you can stay up to date when we release new videos. Hit that like button, it makes us feel good, and stay tuned because we got a lot more coming at you. Big announcement, friends. You've asked for it, we're gonna deliver. We've got merch coming your way. Like butter, carp on the annual mulberry run, all kinds of stuff. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And by the way, you might like these videos too.